Hot dogs are everywhere, at barbecues, ball games, and even eating contests where champions devour dozens in minutes. Did you know that the world record for the most hot dogs eaten in 10 minutes is 76? It was set up by the competitive eater Joey Chestnut. But have you ever stopped to think about how these irresistible tasty franks are actually made? From raw meat to the perfectly cooked and packaged hot dogs you grab at the store, the process is faster and more fascinating than you might expect. Let's take a behind-the-scenes look at how hot dogs are made in the factories. So where does it all begin? Hot dogs start with high-quality meat. And no, it's not mystery meat, like some myths suggest. Factories use cuts of beef, pork, chicken, or turkey, often a combination of these depending on the brand and variety. The meat selected is fresh, lean, and inspected to ensure it meets food safety standards. Workers carefully inspect and trim the meat, removing any excess fat, tendons, or anything that won't contribute to the perfect texture. Some high-end brands use premium cuts like sirloin or chuck, while others use trimmings from different parts of the animal, which are still 100% safe and edible. Factories follow strict recipes to achieve the ideal balance of lean meat and fat. Fat is important. It's what makes a hot dog juicy and prevents it from turning into a dry, rubbery stick. Ever wonder why some hot dogs taste juicier than others? It's because different brands adjust the fat to lean ratio. Some go for a richer, meatier taste, while others focus on a leaner, healthier version. That's why every brand has its own signature flavor. Once the right cuts of meat are selected, it's time to grind them down. For this, we use industrial strength grinders that can break down hundreds of pounds of meat in just minutes. These machines look like giant versions of the meat grinders you might see at a butcher shop, except they work much faster and can process massive amounts at once. The meat goes through an initial coarse grind, which breaks it down into smaller chunks. After the first grind, the meat is sent through another round of grinding, this time in a finer setting. The goal here is to create a smooth, even texture that will blend seamlessly when the seasonings and water are added later. If you ever wondered why hot dogs have such a soft, uniform texture, this grinding process is the secret. Think of it like making a smoothie. The first few pulses chop the ingredients roughly, but the longer you blend, the smoother it becomes. That's exactly what happens here, except instead of fruit, it's meat getting transformed into the perfect hot dog base. Some brands even go the extra mile by emulsifying the meat, meaning they grind it down so finely that it turns into a smooth, paste-like consistency. This step is especially common in skinless hot dogs, which have that ultra-soft bite. If you prefer a little more texture in your hot dog, you might opt for brands that leave the mixture slightly chunkier. Now here's where the flavor magic happens. If you've ever wondered why hot dogs taste so different from regular sausages, it all comes down to the seasoning blend. Each brand has its own secret recipe, but most hot dogs include a few key ingredients. Salt is one of the most important components. It enhances the flavor of the meat, helps bind the mixture together, and even acts as a preservative. Without salt, hot dogs wouldn't have that signature savory kick. Garlic and onion powder add depth, while paprika is often used to give certain varieties a slightly reddish hue. Factories carefully measure and add these ingredients to the mixture, making sure every batch gets the exact same amount. Some brands might include extra spices like nutmeg, celery powder, or even a touch of sugar to create a unique taste. Ever notice that some hot dogs have a slightly smoky or spicy kick? Well, that's all thanks to these extra flavor boosters. Once the seasonings are added, a small amount of ice or cold water is mixed in. This might sound strange, but it serves an important purpose. The cold water keeps the mixture at a low temperature, which helps preserve the texture and prevents the fat from separating from the meat. It also makes the mixture easier to blend smoothly. At this point, the meat mixture starts to look more like a thick batter than actual meat. It's creamy, uniform, and packed with flavor. If you could take a bite of it right now, it would taste like an intense raw version of a hot dog, but don't try this at home. If you're enjoying this video, then don't forget to subscribe. Here's where things get interesting. The ground meat and spices are mixed into a fine, thick paste using high-speed machines. This emulsification process ensures the hot dog is smooth and uniform, with no chunky bits. Just visualize a giant mixing bowl, swirling everything together into a thick, creamy consistency. Some premium hot dogs are left a little chunkier for a more homemade texture, while others are blended ultra smooth. Now comes the fun part, turning this flavorful meat mixture into actual hot dogs. The paste is pumped into long tube-like casings, giving the hot dogs their signature shape. Factories use high-speed machines to fill thousands of castings per minute, ensuring consistency in size and shape. There are two main types of casing used in hot dog production. Traditional hot dogs use natural casings used from clean animal intestines. These casings give hot dogs that signature snap when you bite into them. If you've ever had an old-fashioned hot dog that feels extra firm when you bite down, that's because it still has its natural casing. However, most modern hot dogs use collagen or cellulose casings, which are plant-based and designed to be removed after cooking. These casings allow factories to produce skinless hot dogs, which have a smoother, softer texture. The stuffing process is fascinating to watch. Picture rows of hot dogs being filled at lightning speed, forming long continuous links that move down a conveyor belt like a never-ending hot dog rope. Once stuffed, the hot dogs are twisted or cut into individual pieces, preparing them for the next step, cooking. At this point, the hot dogs may look the part, but they're still far from ready to eat. Industrial cooking systems are used to ensure that every hot dog is cooked thoroughly, eliminating any bacteria and locking in the perfect taste and texture. The cooking process is designed to be both fast and efficient while keeping the hot dogs juicy and flavorful. The most common method is steam cooking. The hot dogs are placed on large racks or conveyor belts and sent through enormous steam ovens where hot pressurized steam circulates around them. This process evenly cooks the hot dogs from the inside out, ensuring they are perfectly tender without drying out. Some factories use water baths, where the hot dogs are submerged in boiling water for a short time before moving to the next stage. For certain premium or specialty hot dogs, factories use smokehouses. In this process, the hot dogs are hung on metal racks inside a massive chamber filled with wood smoke. This method infuses the franks with a rich smoky flavor, similar to traditional sausages. The type of wood used, whether hickory, applewood, or maple, can influence the final taste. Smoked hot dogs tend to have a slightly darker color and a deeper, more complex flavor profile. One of the most important parts of cooking hot dogs in a factory is making sure they all cook evenly and at the same temperature. Because factories produce thousands, sometimes millions, of hot dogs a day, this consistency is crucial. High-tech sensors constantly monitor the cooking process to ensure no hot dog is overcooked or undercooked. Ever notice that hot dogs have a smooth, glossy appearance? Well, that's because during the cooking process, the proteins in the meat bind together, forming a tight, uniform texture. The casing also plays a role here. If the hot dog has a natural casing, it stays on, helping to seal in the juices. If it has an artificial casing, it will be removed later. Do you prefer a classic steamed hot dog or one with a deep smoky flavor? Let us know in the comments below. Once they are fully cooked, the hot dogs need to be cooled quickly. If they were left to sit at room temperature, they could become overcooked or dry out, and bacteria could start to form. That's why factories use specialized cooling tunnels to bring the temperature down rapidly. One of the most common methods is a cold water bath. The freshly cooked hot dogs are immediately plunged into icy water, which stops the cooking process instantly and helps them retain their firm texture. Another cooling method uses cold air tunnels, where frigid air circulates around the hot dogs as they move along a conveyor belt, bringing their temperature down in minutes. At this point, if the hot dogs were made with artificial casings, they go through a special peeling machine. The casings are quickly stripped away, leaving behind the smooth, skinless hot dogs you find in most grocery stores. If the hot dogs were made with natural casings, they are left intact, giving them that signature snap when you bite into them. Now that they're cooked and cooled, the hot dogs are ready for packaging. High-speed machines neatly arrange them into packs, vacuum seal them for freshness, and label them for stores. Picture rows of shiny, sealed hot dog packs moving down a conveyor belt, ready to hit supermarket shelves. Ready to enjoy hot dogs? Get yours from the nearest market. Hot dogs are one of the most widely consumed foods in the world, and now you know exactly how they're made. The next time you fire up the grill or grab a hot dog at a ball game, you can appreciate the incredible journey it took to get there. From the factory floor to your plate, each hot dog has been carefully crafted for maximum flavor and quality. Now, here's the big question. How do you like your hot dog? Classic with mustard and ketchup, or loaded with chili and cheese? Let us know in the comments which one is your favorite. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel too. And, of course, thanks for watching.